Hey people, what's going on? I'm Duce, and today I'm doing a sit down with Off the Record Studios. This is Off the Record with Duce. I'm Duce, I'm a musician, I'm a producer and an educator. I play keys and bass, and I've been delivering music production workshops in prisons for almost 17 years now. So MTTC, or Music Tech Training Centre, I started it off about 2010. Now this is before resources like how to make a beat or how to mix a track was widely available. So what I came up with was the idea of creating courses that were tailored around individual students' needs and delivering them on a one-to-one basis or in small groups in the community. And what's been amazing is First Timothy has been one of those students. Ever since then, it sort of evolved into primarily delivering on YouTube. A lot of the work I do now and have been doing for about the last 16 years or so has been in prisons. I've been able to engage with thousands of different people. When did I start working in prisons? Well, it all began in 2008. I saw an advert for a music technology specialist to teach music technology and music production in a brand new studio. I thought, wow, that's the dream job. That's what I do. I was already qualified in music technology. I had loads of years of experience, but I was new to teaching. So I thought, let me apply. So I've gone along to the interview, not realizing that the job was actually in a prison. So I thought to myself, man, I'm not sure about this. Do I want to do this? Of course, I got the job. For about 2 years, I was turning up to work to teach music technology and music production in a prison, in a room with no music equipment. All I had was a whiteboard, an old computer, and I was told, yeah, can you teach music? My heart sank. I had to wait 2 years, and I kept being promised week after week that the equipment was coming in. Eventually, I began applying to get out of there, which gave them the push. And once the studio was decked out, I have not looked back, and it was the new phase of my life.
What is it like, all these different kinds of prisons? What is that like?
Man, that's a great question. There's a scripture in the Bible which I struggled with when I was growing up. So the scripture is from Matthew 25:36, and it says, I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Well, you see, as a person growing up, even though I was a Christian, I was fine with the first two, but visiting someone in prison, I didn't know anyone who was in prison when I was growing up, and I didn't really want to associate with anyone that was in prison. How can I live up to the standards as directed by Christ if I'm not prepared to go and visit or have anything to do with someone in prison? And the Lord knew that I was struggling with that. So what did he do? He said, okay, cool. I'm going to give you a job in prison so you can overcome that madness. It has been a real opportunity of growth for me. I would never have chosen this path. I was placed in this path and given an opportunity to grow. I don't have to accept their crimes. I can accept people because we're all sinful and we're all flawed.
How has working in prisons affected you personally?
I had to come to a realization that there was a lot about me that needed to change. I think really the job has really exposed me to another side of life. I remember the first time I met someone who told me that they were in jail for a double M. Now, I didn't even know what an M was, and then this dude told me he was in for a double M. He's taken 2 lives. And by the time the message went from my ears to my brain and I worked it out, a fear took hold of me. The guy wasn't threatening in any way, and all of a sudden I was scared. I wanted to run out of the room, and that was a turning point for me because a few seconds earlier, quite happy to be around him. And he was talking very casually about it. And that's another thing about working in jail for me. I don't ask about what guys are in for. What I do is build relationships. Later on, it might come out that this person is in here for X, Y. By that time, I've already established a relationship. I've got a clear idea of who you are. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of my policy. Everyone deals with things differently. But for me, I don't want to know. I know what the standards are, what the expectation is, what the Lord teaches us. But I'm still a work in progress. So I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to deal with people on face value, but also with the knowledge of whatever crime they've committed.
So what's one of your most memorable moments teaching in prison?
Man, there's just so many moments. It's countless. One thing that comes to mind, this guy, he was the lovely lad in my workshop. I had a big workshop. I was working with these young offenders, and he was about to turn 21 years old. I was thinking to myself, how would I feel if my son was going to be turning 21 years old? I've already built a decent relationship with the lad. He's in jail for some drug-related crime. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to do something a little bit different for him. I had a room in the workshop where we'd use as a sort of breakout room. So what I did at lunchtime, I went out to the supermarket and I bought a little cake, nothing fancy, and I bought 1 or 2 little drinks and whatnot. I bought it for myself, but I decided, you know what? I'm gonna set up the room, put that stuff in there, and I got the lad, his 2 mates in there, and they had a feast. Mate, about 5 years later, I'm walking down the road and I get a call on my phone. These times, I'm feeling emotional, you know, bro.
That's deep.
Yeah. Wow. Didn't expect that, bro. Man's tearing up, bro. Wow. That's deep.
It is.
Yeah. But off the record, but you see what it is, it's that with the work I do, I don't explore the impact on the broader impact. Just deal with it and you move on, you know, and that's how you get through. That's how you get through it, you see. I don't want to look like I'm weeping or nothing on the camera. Yeah, we're good, yeah? So about 5 years later, I'm walking down the road and I get a call on my phone. If I don't recognize a number, I'm not answering it. But the Spirit said to me, answer the phone. Picked up the phone. And it's the person introduced himself. He says, oh, do you remember me? Da, 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 da. And I said, yeah, of course. How you doing? Da, 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 da. He says, yeah, you know, I'm working in Barclays Bank. I'm a trainee in the bank and such. I said, oh, that's amazing. So good to hear your voice, you know. And he goes, yeah, I just wanted to call you and just thank you for what you did for me for my 21st. And he reminded me of the whole setup. For me, that was just one day, one afternoon working in jail. But the impact was profound. I thought it was just a nice thing to do, but it was long lasting. 5 years later, he sought me out. I'm not allowed to give my details to guys in jail. So he found me online or whatever. He decided to call me and to say thanks. I would just have to say that it's the Spirit of God that plants these seeds in my mind, the actions I take, because by rights, I'm not supposed to bring in a little cake because people can get done for grooming and stuff like that. But it was the right thing to do. And that's why I'm able to share it today, because it reaches me here. I have a saying which I like to share with colleagues and friends, which is, when I wake up in the morning, I get to go to work. For many people, they wake up and say, I've got to go to work. It's a real difference between the two, because I actually really enjoy my work in that capacity. Each day I go in, I know for a fact that I'm having a positive impact, because I'm told that by the individuals I'm working with, and they're hungry to learn and they're hungry to engage. So therefore it gives me purpose. In terms of my mental health, it's actually enriching for me.
What are you currently doing in terms of your prison work?
So currently what I'm doing in prisons is delivering music therapy sessions. I've been doing this for the past year. Prior to that, all of my work was education related, but now helping guys to work through some of the trauma, some of their mental health baggage through music. It really is an amazing insight into how guys think, especially guys who have been in and out of jail for many years, some for decades. I've got one guy at the moment, 21 years old, and he's been in jail for 7 years. Since he was 14 years old, he's been in jail. And he's still got another, well, he's a lifer. He goes up for parole in, I think, another 10 years or so. I get to work with that individual, and he gets to work with me. He wants to work with me. In that, he's able to explore and express and purge himself of much of the anger and the frustration of growing up in jail. That's a blessing to be able to be put in that position where I can facilitate an outlet for that individual. So how does my faith allow me to connect with guys in prison? We can teach others through our actions. It's not just about preaching from the pulpit. At the heart of it, that's what I go out to do. I want to be impactful in a positive way. That's what drives me as far as the faith aspect goes. God's given me these talents and these gifts, and he's given me an opportunity to use them to help others. Let's do it.
What is it like raising a family, doing a business, doing YouTube at the same time?
Well, to be honest with you, it's not easy, man. It's hard work. It really is hard work. It takes a lot of time, effort, and commitment. Now, some of you might not know, I struggle with some physical challenges as well. Around 2015, unfortunately, I damaged my spine, which has had a detrimental effect on me physically. Through medication, I'm able to function, but even so, I'm constantly in pain. So I'm managing a lot of things, carrying a lot of pain, but it doesn't stop me. And why? I struggle with standing still. I have to keep on moving out. I'm too blessed by the Almighty to just sit down and cry about the impairments, we all have struggles, we all have bills to pay, we all have challenges that we have to face on a day-to-day basis. I recognize the blessing that God has given me. He's given me the talents, the equipment, and the opportunity. It's now down to me. It's not easy, but it's really rewarding.
So what advice would you give to creators?
Having a connection with the Almighty without question helps me to stay grounded, have a clear vision of what you want to accomplish, a short, medium and long-term goal, and work towards it that way. In this day and age, I think people don't have the staying power. They're not willing to take the losses. All they want is win, 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 win. If they get a couple losses and give up. If you're really, truly are devoted and committed and willing to put in the work, it's inevitable that you will make some success.
Does your family get involved in your career?
From day one, my family have been incredibly encouraging throughout. Now my daughter, she's been very much involved in terms of helping me steer the content, the direction of my output. She is a very big encouragement. My wife, wonderful encouragement. My son as well, always encouraging. My nephew has been an incredible support. So this has been a sit down with me, Duce, and Off the Record Studios. Thanks for watching.